problem is our society for the longest demonized mental health. Like, oh, it's
You're
not
crazy.
Why do you think that is?
I don't understand you. You're nuts.
And actually, for me, like in my culture, like when they say when you're seeking mental health, or it's the problem for the rich. It is not a
champagne problem.
Or
Yeah,
or
it's
you're
like-
not mentally capable enough to handle your life. So
Which is a
that-
normal like you can't handle you can't handle everyday life.
Yeah.
That means there's something wrong with you, not
So
something wrong
now
with
I can
everyday
dismiss
life.
you because
Yeah.
now you're like not valid anymore, and that's a shame because it's like how can you grow and be human,
Yeah.
you know, and also let people see that without that fear of like, well, now people are not going to take me as seriously. They're not going to respect me as much because now I'm seen as
They think I'm
crazy or
crazy.
incapable of handling my life.
Which
or-
is so funny because everyone knows it's on t-shirts. Life is hard. As a trans person, we are often balancing all of that for ourselves, but also managing the mental health of the people around us, our families, when we're how they are handling our
being
transition,
considerate of
being
everybody.
considerate of everyone, the men that are around us. How, when do I tell them how they do? How are they going to react?
I
Is
used
it,
to be
you
like
know-
that, like, oh, I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make any guys feel uncomfortable. I can't dress too sexy, can't show cleavage, can't do this, can't do that. Like, no.
Humans need to use. We talked about the need for being able to express our what's going on inside of us, even if we just write it down, and not being able to do that after something so heavy, like being a trans person dealing with these types of things, is damaging. I think
It got really dangerous for me because after finding out how bad my heart actually is, I couldn't transition the way I wanted. Putting a front for the audience, and yes, I'm okay, I'm still performing, doing all that. But inside I was like, it was eating at me. Then when I see my friends and the women that I'm around, I'm always like, God, like, I will never be that beautiful. There was times when me and Carmen would be on tour together. We would be on shows. I don't know if you remember in Canada when we did that gig. I told the promoter, I was like, I do not want to stand next to Carmen.
What, really?
I was like, I do not want to stand next to Carmen. I was like,
No.
I was just like, it was, and at the time I made it like, oh, me and her don't get along. That's what and I was like, which is not, it was completely not true. But I was just like, I'm not standing next to her. I was like, I felt so ugly, and I just didn't feel complete.
Having a therapist really
Helped me out.
helped everything.
Because,
So basically,
now I'm like, now I'm in a space where I understand who I am. Like, I get it now. And
Can you see your own beauty? Because you are
yes,
beautiful.
I do. Now I do.
you've talked about how you feel about a medical transition and what that would mean to you. And I think that just being able to acknowledge your transness and really live in that, whatever that means, is a necessary thing for trans people. And I think transgender children are finding their way to that.
Yeah.
And there are barriers that are being put up to that. What do you think the toll is to those kids?
well, it's been pretty much the narrative to anybody who grows up different, is that there's disappointment in life. And what I've learned is there's no such thing as the perfect childhood.